Good morning. I'm Denise Dryden doing my weekly information downloads, gathering, sharing with you. And I have so much to talk to you about today because I chose to talk about the pineal or the pineal gland. I always call it the pineal. So I'm going to refer to it from that point forward. I wrote up an entire sort of walk through all of the information on this gland. And, in the last 15 minutes, it's just been shattering apart and breaking into new forms. So um, let's just see where it takes us. Okay. Um, on its most basic level, the pineal gland is a small pea-shaped gland at the center of our brain, between our eyes, sort of right in here. It's in between the right and the left hemisphere, so it's nestled right between the both sides of our brain. It is part of the endocrine system. Basic pineal gland 101, it maintains our serotonin levels. It also regulates our internal and matching to the world clock. So it sort of runs our reproductive hormones. Um, it is our time and space, our spatial navigator. Okay. So, on the most basic level, it is at the center of our brain and it's very tiny and it has a much more powerful role than science and medicine has been letting us know. So, on the pineal gland 201, like basic, like sophomore year of college, more information, it is, it holds frequency in our body. It holds frequency. And so the frequency comes in. And so the way that I would look at this, and I have all of these cards to sort of show you within the rebel deck, here's the third eye, and then it shows you all of this information that it can access, right? If you go to the priestess card in the Osho Zen, the third eye accesses this frequency, which then comes into the system and sort of works with the water, the playfulness, the joy, the sense of self that comes through. So the priestess uses the pineal gland to access frequency. Okay, now frequency is what the indigo was born to change. So the indigo came in mass in the mid 70s. 77 was the year I was given, and before that and after that, right? Based on pre-arrivals and in mass. And their frequency was a high pure sapphire frequency. So when this frequency is open and it's clear, it holds clarity. It holds concentration. It accesses our perceptions, our imaginations. It is how we connect to others. It is how we sense ourselves as being part of a larger community of one. So, going through this in the Osho Zen, this is the star card, which is what happens when our pineal gland is open and connected. And you can see this peaceful, sort of restful zone. I like the idea that there's water in both of these, right? When you go to the sun card, Osho describes this as what happens when our pineal gland is completely open and we are in a sense of belonging and joy. When you go to the completion card within the Osho Zen, it's when that final piece in our head falls together, right? So it's our insights, it's our downloads, it's it's where clairvoyance and cognizance resides. It's where we can telepathically connect to others and we are systemically think of, in connection with all souls, all nature, all everything on our earth, right? So it holds a frequency, and when we can raise the frequency, our cells respond and it affects our body, our health, our ability to combat illness and disease. And when our frequency is lowered into low density frequency, what we see is a lot of disease and illness and lethargic, depression. I don't know what to do with the world, sort of energy. And so When the indigos came in, they came into a really low density, and they had to kind of look at this. So what I want to do then is go to when low frequency is present, there's confusion, there's uncertainty, there's a lack of confidence, there's pessimism, there's competition, there's jealousy. There's things that don't work very well within the ability for humans to come together. So the lower the frequency, the more shut down our pineal gland is, the more we're in reaction and we're in comparison and we're in things that don't work very well. So I want to notch it up one more level, which is the pineal gland 301, right? Which is that it is our spatial navigator. It is how we view linear time, how we participate um, in our role on Earth and hold for everything at the same time. It's all seeing, it's all knowing, and it's interesting that up here in this quadrant, in this section of the head, in the tree of life, is where Keter resides, and Keter is ruled by Neptune. Neptune is the ruler of the oceans. Think of the vast amount of water, the 72% of water on our planet in our bodies, how water sustains us and moves and informs us. Neptune is also ruler of the quantum field. So what happens is we can access much bigger than ourselves through the water, the frequency, through our pineal glands into a quantum field. This is what is possible when we open this up. So when the indigos came in, they came in to hold a higher level of frequency, and they were followed. And I brought an excerpt here that it's in the very first section. When the indigo is able to embody and stabilize the frequency levels they hold on Earth, then the crystalline codes could begin to arrive. Up until the indigo arrival, there was no energy on Earth that could protect the crystals. The Earth needed to prepare for their arrival. Once the arrival of the crystalline energy was successful, the indigo was additionally activated with the vibrational expansion of the crystalline light energy and the codes, and blended much of this energy into their own system. So what happened was indigos came in and held a higher frequency, and then the crystallines came in and they held an even higher frequency and a vibration, which brought again, now we may be dancing now between 301 and 401, like advanced studies between how the pineal gland starts to partner with the vibration of the heart. So we have vibration of the heart, which is through Heart Math Institute. You can understand that this is an intelligence all of itself. And then when the pineal gland and the frequency activation, let's go back to our priestess, right? When she can bring in information from the frequency fields, from the quantum field, and she can match that with the heart vibration, then we're in crystalline frequency. Then we start to have arrivals of the crystals and rainbow frequencies that were strategic to prepare for the destined diamonds. And the diamond frequencies are collaborative and they're expansive by design. So the diamonds hadn't been able to come. And so when I'm looking, you all don't know a lot. There's other videos, and I've been talking about this for years now, right? Is that an indigo clears the ground. The crystalline opens up the vibration. The rainbow starts to spread it around so that the diamonds can arrive. And that diamond frequency is wide open quantum field access to everything. This frequency has been added 1 point at a time through the pineal gland. So indigos were born with a much more powerful, intact pineal gland than most who resided on the planet at that time. The crystals amped that up and came in with full insight into who we are. So when we're looking at these kids who were born in 89 and forward, and they're sort of not participating in the norms, they don't want to do what we all talk about is should do. It's the holidays, this is your grandparents, this is school, blah blah blah, and they're like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Then we realized that this access point that they have is so much greater than anything that we have thought about before. And as we've been preparing for the higher frequency of the diamond kids to come, um, think about a wide open pineal gland that has ultimate clarity, connection, clairvoyant, clairaudient, talks telepathically, is highly imaginative, is awake at night, or that's not correct, is active at night, doing pieces of frequency work throughout their system. And they may be little tiny babies all the way up to 10-year-olds at this point. And we're just thinking, what's going on with our world? And I'm wondering if it all doesn't come down to this pineal gland. Now, this is not new information, okay? The Within the Hindu faith, within the Buddha, if you go to consciousness, it's like, how do you access and meditate and come through the power of the pineal gland? So this has been a targeted constriction by those who would like the human population not to be empowered, right? So when we're talking about the specific targeting that happened in post-World War II in the military industrial complex, it went after foods and chemicals. It started mandating fluoride in the water. It started mandating fluoride in our dental care. And putting chemicals into our food sources, all which were designed to take that magnificent pineal gland and shut it down so that it would make us more docile, more vulnerable to authority, easy to control, confused, disempowered, followers. It was a low frequency that kept the body, way down there, in the 40, 30, 20 hertz frequencies where it was just like, oh my God, the body just repeats one disease after the other, and the cells can't compensate, and the immune system can't fight it. It's coming through the pineal gland. It keeps us separate. It keeps us competitive. It keeps us away from each other. Okay. So when we realize that this is a strategic limitation that was put on humans, then I think that's where I go, "Oh, wait a minute. I think there's something really interesting going on here." So this morning, what I was doing was playing with conditioning, which is all of these layers and roles and expectations that the humans have about school, about religion, about politics, about money, about right and wrong, about our value systems, right? That are taught to us, but also this conditioning is also contracting our pineal gland. So it's calcifying, it's shutting down, it's constricting. And so the older we are, the more, like calcification, dirt, grime, plaque, think of teeth, right? We have on that pineal gland that keeps us from being open and aware and connected. And we're birthing children and raising children and grandchildren who are wide open, who are looking at us and going, I love you. You're sweet, but you are so limited and so shut down. What do I need to do to sort of wake you up? So when we clear out this pineal gland and when we activate it, we connect to ourselves. We expand into ourselves. We start to go, wait, I'm actually a lot more intelligent. I'm a lot more aware than I thought I was. We connect to others. We see the view and the perspectives from a much higher. We have different perspectives. We have different um, uh, ways of putting things together from a much higher perspective, right? We let go of linear time and space. We start to need more space and time. We stop pulling out. We pull out of schedules, over scheduling. We start to want more time and rest at home. We want to sleep a little bit more, and we are lighthouses of frequency. So we pull others towards us, and we gravitate towards those that we align with. Right? We expand, and we ride, and we play with these solar flares and these geomagnetic storms because they keep activating us and bringing us downloads and information, and we start to become much more aware. Our children are doing that now. We just don't have the language in order to speak with them. Now, before I go into the tips, I want to bring up one more piece that sort of floated in and has been hanging out for the last 2 weeks since I started with this whole sinus thing, right? This whole Um, and I have a picture on my phone that I want to show you because I think that this is really a good way to look at it. Okay. Um, our sinuses are under attack right now. We have this virus that's anywhere between 2 days and 4 days initially. It comes in, it clogs up the sinuses, shuts down our ability to want to participate in the world. We can't really hear or see anything. Our sinuses from here all the way down are inflamed, and then they're turning into infections and an enormous amount of sleep. Now, this little flu thing is because I have clients all over the world. It's just it hit all at the same time. It didn't start and spread slowly one continent at a time. It just like everybody was hit with it at the exact same time. So when we look at the sinuses system, our third eye is nestled right in here. So I'm not saying anything is or isn't. What I'm saying is that I'm curious as to how so many of so many women like myself, so many of my cohorts, so many of my colleagues, so many of my clients, and we're all sort of working with this energy are all of a sudden hit with this enormous sinus shutdown that is making it hard to even want to do anything right now. So we're either being slowed down while there's integration and downloads going on, or we're being shut down because we were starting to really get some things. And I don't know what it is. All I know is that for whatever reason, for the last 2 weeks, I've been groggy. I'm sleeping. I can't get enough sleep. I really don't want to work on the things that I'm working on. And yet I am having a blast supporting my clients who are doing this kind of work for themselves. So I have 5 tips for you. Okay. Number one, as you can see, I still have this sinus thing that'll blow my nose all the time. Do your own research. Get on your phone, get on your computer and look up pineal gland and look at alternative sources and look at watch videos and watch how it's represented and what it is. Gaia has a lot of information on there about the pineal gland. And then start this process of removing products. Get the fluoride out, start to get distilled or reverse osmosis water in and start to clear your system out, right? So that you can see, how do I clear my pineal gland? So that's the first thing is do your own research and start to look at what you can actually do. Okay. Number two, you are guiding yourself. You are in a partnership. You may be still have children school age at home. You may be grandparenting. You're still guiding humans forward. And as a guide, it's really important to know what your frequency connection is. And that the clearer you get, the more you can communicate with these younger kids on a new level. And so you normalize things like downloads or dreams at night. Man, I had a really active night. Anything interesting come out of it? So that it's not like, oh my God, I keep dreaming and I'm not sleeping. It's like, well, we're not supposed to sleep at night. That's when we get all this information because our pineal gland can broaden open and bring in information, right? So we normalize our dreams. We normalize clairvoyance. Like, did you really just see that? Yeah, I did. We normalize claircognizant. I know things that I don't know how I knew them. Like the way that I've been talking about this flu, these other things that are coming in and they're getting in real close and they're saying, pay attention to this, Denise. There's something really here. And within your relationships, start to normalize what we see with our imagination, what we see in our energy fields, in how the frequency talks to us, right? Number three, use the sun. The sun is the most beautiful form. And in Montana, when it's winter, the sun doesn't come out that much. But when it does, right, get out in the sun. So you can sun gaze right as the sun's going down or coming up. And you just simply open your eyes and you look right at it. So I like to wait till the sun's just touching the horizon and watch it go down. It's less strong. It doesn't hurt your eyes. There are other times when the sun's a little higher that you can just go out and sit. And I learned this on a show with Andrew Bartzis, and it's wonderful, which is just sit down for a second. And if the sun's out here, just close your eyes and point your pineal gland at it and just open it up and let the sun come in to the gland. And then you can kind of notice that your energy level, which might have been flat, starts to fill up, or that there's a point where you're like, I'm full, I'm good, and I can get up and move. But you use the sun for fuel because the sun's going to activate our cells and it's going to bring our frequency up. So use it. Number 4, connect your pineal gland to your heart. Our heart vibration spreads out and pulses and sort of brings in information and data 5,000 times more powerful, quickly, more powerfully than the brain. When we bring in the frequency information of the pineal and we bring them in together, then we are unstoppable because we are vibrating and we're frequency and we talk and we act and we guide and we lead from this space. So find a way to connect these two. Okay. And number 5, have compassion. This is what I'm always going to say, right? Have compassion for those that are just dull. You can, sometimes they say that the eyes are the windows of the soul. I wonder if when we look at someone and their eyes are just flat, and we can tell that their pineal gland is calcified, that they're really like barely home, barely walking through anything. You're like, oh, have compassion. Have compassion for that low frequency, maybe things hurt, maybe there's inflammation, maybe there's disease in that body. Have compassion for the fact that that gland isn't open, and have compassion for yourself that, hey, I've been operating on that level for quite some time. Now I'm going to start to open this up. So if you are interested in learning more about this or deepening your tools or doing more work on the 201, 301, or 401 level on pineal gland, drop me a note. You can get the contact information underneath here, and like and subscribe so we can continue these. And have a great Thanksgiving if you're here in the US, and I will see you next Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.